The first one is Ray Ziemer. He was born and raised on the south side of Chicago. He has worked in construction and taught English from junior high to college. Presently, he lives on the west branch of the DuPage River, where he enjoys canoeing, hiking, and writing. What is the trend tonight with adventurers in writing? I don't know. So he's like the Indiana Jones here of local writers. So Ziemer is active in a number of writing groups and contributes regularly to journals and reading venues. His novel, The Ghost of Jamie McVeigh, was published by Black Rose Writing in 2019, and a poetry collection, Blood and Remembrance, came out from Moonstone Press in 2022. Ziemer is currently working on a major fictional piece, South Side Story, which taps into his adolescent years in Chicago. You can find him at rgziemer.com. So, Ray.
Thanks a lot. This is something not published, but hopefully it will be soon. It's ripped from the headlines, I guess. Maybe a true story. Baby kangaroo. Not everybody gets Tom right away. My man can be kind of a big, scary badass, but in his heart, he's soft as a teddy bear. He's not afraid to tell you he loves sunsets and fluffy animals, and he wouldn't hurt a flea. Sure, he's got a strange sense of humor. I wouldn't argue with you. That business with the baby kangaroo, for instance. I'm driving by the farm in Fleet, and I see the sign, petting zoo, exotic animals, pet the baby kangaroo. So I call Tom. Pick us up at home after work, we'll bring Missy to pet the kangaroo. Sounds like a plan, babe, he says. By the time he gets home, I've got our daughter, and we head over to the big box store. Part of the parking lot has been corralled off for the so-called zoo. You can set your baby down amongst the baby goats, they call kids, so your kid can get butted by the baby goats. They got nappy-coated lambs and lop-eared bunnies too, but the star of the show is the baby kangaroo. Just the cutest little critter you ever saw in a diaper. It's nestled in a little fleece sling like a livestock handbag. Missy's afraid to hold him at first, but Tom hangs the sack over her shoulder, and she just melts looking down into its big brown eyes. Funny little rat-faced thing, Tom says. And now we know what kangaroo piss smells like. I'm taking pictures like I might never see another kangaroo in my life, which, you know. After all that fun is over, I say to Tom, let's print some of these pictures over at the Walgreens to send to my mom. We print out the whole batch from the petting zoo and stand in the parking lot sorting through them. Some are blurry, some miss the target altogether, and I hand Tom the discards to toss. He picks one out and chuckles. Always a bad sign. He looks around the parking lot and smiles to himself. Also a bad sign. After rooting around in the car console, he comes out with a Sharpie. Doesn't say anything, just writes on the back of the picture. Then he walks over and slips it under the windshield wiper of the car we're parked next to. What are you doing? I ask. Just having some fun, he says with a big grin. It's still light outside when we get home with burgers, so me and Missy sit out in front of the garage while Tom goes inside. We're just finishing up when a state police car pulls into the driveway. Now what? I watch the trooper put on his Smokey Bear hat. He sits a little while looking at our car and talking into the radio. Then he comes up to me and asks to see some ID. What's this all about? Missy starts to sneak away behind the garage. Is this your car? Yeah, and so? I got no reason not to, so I pulled my license out of my purse and handed it over. He looks at the house. Is there anyone else at home? Uh-oh. I don't know what's going on, but I give Tom a yell. Missy creeps out and I send her into the house. Hearing his name, Tom pokes his head out the back storm door. His eyes go wide. What the hell has he been up to? What seems to be the trouble, officer, says Tom, who I guess has had more than a few conversations like this. Trooper gets Tom's name, checks out his notepad, puts his hands on his hips. He's a younger dude with stubble on his chin, and his tan shirt is rumpled. He looks tired, like it's the end of his shift. Did either of you leave something on a car at the Walgreens on Route 59? Oh boy. I turn and give Tom the stink eye. What did you do? Trooper pulls out a photo in a clear plastic baggie and holds it out to Tom. Did you leave this on a car windshield in the Walgreens lot? Tom hesitates. Walgreens, you say? He squints at the picture as if he's not sure, considering how many other pictures he's left on how many other cars at one of the many drugstores he's been visiting. Okay, the trooper says. He studies the picture himself. This is a little blurry, but I'm going to say it looks a lot like the little girl I just saw going into your house. Is this your daughter? Yeah, I say. So what? So, he says, I'd like to get to the bottom of this. We have a lot of people very concerned. Tom makes that grumbly, growly noise he makes sometimes when he's frustrated, especially when he thinks somebody's acting stupid. And when Tom gets frustrated, he tends to wave his arms around. He should know you don't wave your arms around wildly in the air around a state trooper who might be just as frustrated as you are. This particular officer reacts to Tom's sudden gesture by stepping back and making a gesture of his own. He points his arm straight at Tom, and in his hand is a taser. Step back right now, he says. You can see the air go out of Tom as he does as he's told. Turn around and put your hands behind your back. Next thing we know, Tom is cuffed and sitting in the back of the squad car. Trooper's on the radio, and Missy's on the steps sobbing, "Don't take Daddy to jail." Trooper opens the back door and looks down on Tom like he's scum. You want to tell me about your whole plan here? Tom stares. It was a joke, he shouts. A little quieter. Just a joke. Trooper blinks. He looks at his phone again, looks at the picture, sticks out his lower lip. Well, if that's true, and he shakes his head. You've got some people mighty upset, mister. Who? Tom squeals. Who could possibly be upset about what's obviously a joke? Somebody was. Who could believe there's no number to call, no details at all, nothing that makes any sense if it was real? Who would think it was real? Well, at least one citizen, that's for sure. Upset enough to call 911 and get everybody in the Walgreens store all riled up. Who? Let me talk to him. I'll explain it was just a joke. Trooper sighs. Seems to think it over. He motions for Tom to get out of the car and unlocks the handcuffs. Then he punches up a number on his phone and hands it to Tom. Don't just explain, he says. You better apologize. So here's Tom trying to use his most reasonable sounding voice, talking to some crazy person on the phone. Even from where I stand, it sounds like a hysterical woman's voice. Tom tells her it was just a joke. He's apologetic. He's contrite. He doesn't know what he was thinking. He realizes now how foolish he was, how insensitive, how bad to even think about such a thing, even as a joke. I still don't know what it's about, but I know Tom is struggling to sound sincere. At last, his shoulders sagging, he hands the phone back to the cop. Missy sidles over to give him a hug, never taking her eyes off the man in uniform. The trooper mutters a few words, shakes his head, and gets back in his car. Through the open window, he waves Tom away. Wait a minute. I rush over to the squad. Who was that? What did she say? I look at Tom, leaning against the house. What did he say? The trooper gives me a sympathetic look like, wow, you got to live with this all the time, don't you? A lady came out of the store, he says, and she found the picture and the note, and she panicked and called 911. The clerk from the photo desk had your credit card information. And when I got there, the store manager already had your license plate number from the parking lot camera. The woman was running around the whole store yelling about it. Yelling about what? A picture? He shows me the picture in the bag again. Yeah, it's a good shot of the baby kangaroo, but all you could see of Missy is half her blurry face. So what? What's the big deal? Tom shrugs his shoulders and picks up Missy. It was just a joke, he says. The trooper flips the picture over. Tom has written on the back with the black Sharpie, $10,000 by midnight or the kangaroo gets it.
Thank you.